also the power of my, what I say. Like last week I said, we're not going to talk about analog again for a long time. And we're talking about analog right now.
Oh,
So,
who would have known?
well, like I love analog stuff and I love anything retro, like especially, when it comes to high def stuff. So either the best way to play it in one dimension, so which is like play it digitally, or the best way to play it from a analog perspective, which is like RGB. But yeah, like I wasn't anticipating that we'd bring up analog again, but in between these two podcasts, so last week when we finished, strangely enough, Analog posted on Twitter, "Hey, we've reopened the Analog NT Mini Noir pre-order." So the Analog NT Mini Noir is the second revision of their Nintendo slash Famicom clone system. So this is the more higher end version of the Super NT. Super NT is like plastic. It only does digital, so HDMI. Whereas this is aluminium and has analog, digital. They rebuilt the NES core and it's got a better cartridge slot, which was a big problem with the first version of it. It's a lot more pricey, so it's $499 US. And it seems like what's happened is people, like the pre-order was earlier this year for this system. I think because they've delayed it and, the whole COVID situation, Analog has been honoring cancellations and giving people money back. So I think they've just had so many orders like bulk up and they've just said, all right, we've got to reissue this because we're making this many. So, we need to get these sold again. So they announced it on like the 11th. And then one day later, exactly like 24 hours later, the pre-orders opened and the pre-orders sold in 2 minutes. And just again, so many people were annoyed. Like, what? We couldn't buy it. This is BS. Like, what the hell? So yeah, people are getting a little bit frustrated with analog at this stage.
Can I ask a huge request of you
Yeah.
and God? Maybe following on. I'm asking another big request, like you getting that rare RPG from Hong Kong for me. This
Yeah.
one's not as bad. Next time they've got the Super NT and they announce, hey, we're gonna, like do some like I'm assuming I can't get the Super NT right now. Is that the case? Like it's not a
Last time I checked, it was sold out. Yeah. But
yeah.
it's they had a second run of it not too long
Uh,
ago.
I've seen. Don't they have like a fancy, like super nice black one that's like a super rare one or something?
Yeah,
Or
that's
am
what
I?
I've
Am
got.
I? Yeah. Okay. Next time you see they're actually like going to put that up, can you let me know? Because out of all their products, that's the one that appeals to me the most because it's the Super Nintendo, So
Yeah,
just
well,
I don't
that's why
know.
I've got it.
Just
Like,
just shoot me a link if you think they're
yeah,
actually going to put them up again. That'd be helpful.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I look, I think, I'm only guessing here, but I feel that the direction they're going is, they will re-release, the Super NT and currently the Mega SG. So that's the Genesis slash Mega Drive clone. You can still buy that right now, but I think they'll keep bringing it back in stock in small runs and then like waiting until it's sold out.
So
So
I do need something to find. I found a random copy of not random. I knew where it came from, but a copy of Jungle Book on SNES in my shed the other day, and I'm like,
I
man,
remember
this
you
is just
had
like
that.
being sitting behind a box somewhere. This thing is so dusty that I need to I don't know the best way to de-dust cartridges these days, but I need to use like industrial friggin' blower to blow it out. But it's just like, man, this game has been mistreated. I need to give it some love at some point. That game was so hard, Jungle Book on SNES. I don't know if you ever played it, but that game
Yeah,
was
I remember you
so
had it, man.
difficult.
I know.
Man, I don't think I ever beat it because of how difficult it was. And back then, when you had a game on the SNES, we're both kids, we didn't have a lot of money to go buy new games. So if you got a
No.
game, even if it wasn't that great, like Jungle Book's not that great, you played it, and you tried to beat it, and you just that's all you had to play, the games you had, So
Yeah, it was a very different era. Like there weren't as many games even coming out in general. So, and I felt like most people on average had, like 5 games maybe on average. Like some people I knew had more, some people had a little bit less maybe, but it wasn't like a huge amount of games. It's not like these days, even with kids, you know, they have so many more games on their systems just because there's more games out, and they're probably like much cheaper compared to what they were when we were around. But yeah, I'll let you know. Like, I'm sure. Well, now I'm committed to making any update about anything analog. But I just thought it was
Thank you.
funny, given the context of everything that happened, that yeah, they did open up the pre-orders and sold out again, and people got really annoyed. My view is, and what I've been waiting for is, I feel like they will release a like a cheaper tiered version. So pretty much a plastic version of the Mini NT, or the NT Mini, I should say. I feel like they will make a plastic version of it and sell it and be like $199 US. And when they do that, or if they do that, I should say, I'll probably pick that one up.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
I was gonna say, I've got
go on.
another request.
Yeah,
So you know how you did that awesome analysis of the Analog Pocket versus the Cybertruck orders
yeah,
last
very accurate.
podcast.
Yeah.
Uh, Next time they announce a new product, can you like do another one of those, but like find something that's like even more random, like I don't know, like a popular KitchenMaid appliance or something. I just want to see that analysis again, but getting even weirder. That'd be great. Thank you. I'll just keep adding these requests as we continue on the rest of the podcast.
No, we'll do. I'm sure there'd be other things that Analog does that is a bit of a head scratcher. And just the last thing I wanted to point out is the thing that's making me laugh at the moment around this product and Analog in general is people are now having big arguments about how Analog says that they don't make emulators. Like, for instance, the Pocket, the Super NT, it's not an emulator. And, you know, people are having this huge argument online. I don't call them emulators. I don't think they're emulators. I think that to me the word emulator is, you know, you're trying to replicate but you might not match it. I like to use the word clone because I think they're really trying to clone the inputs and the outputs, and that's what the FPGAs do. I mean, it's not a one-for-one copy. So, I mean, I think there's a fair point in both sides.
I just think when I think emulator, and this is completely from a very ignorant standpoint on everything to do with these kind of stuff, I think of emulation as just basically using software to achieve everything, you know,
Yeah, no, and that's right.
as opposed to any hardware components that are kind of, as you said, like cloning or replicating the original hardware.
Yeah, and I mean, like, not going down a crazy rabbit hole, which I easily could, but, you know, from a software emulation point of view, you're running the code on your computer, which has a certain clock speed, which is not ever going to be in a multiple of these original systems. You know, for instance, with the SNES, it was like 3 megahertz or something like that. Whereas these systems, they actually replicate lots of stuff, you know, including like the clock speeds and like all of this kind of stuff. So it's like, for me, I you know, they are trying to make it so that you put a input in and it does some magic, and then the output is trying to be reference. So it's trying to be exact from an input output point of view. So for me, it's like, you know, I feel like it's more of a clone of what it is, and you'd never say that like, you know, the first version of a PlayStation versus the last few revisions of a PlayStation, oh, they're emulating the PlayStation, because it works differently. But the key is, it's like the inputs and the outputs are the same, so, you know, it is the same thing. So I don't know, that's where I fall on it. I think it's kind of funny. It doesn't matter. It's just people's views on it, and, you know, like, they do a great job at making it as one-to-one as possible.